Afternoon, everyone. Part 6, Public Speaking 101. In Part 6, we're talking about types of speeches. There's several different types of speeches. Yes, they are all different. The primary three are persuasion, information, and demonstration. However, there's other ones that feed off of that. For example, let's talk first of all about persuasion speech. We're trying to persuade you about something, all right? Persuade the listener to take action. We want you to do this now, or the very near future. We want to persuade you to do that. We're trying to change the listener's attitude about this before. Let's do this now about something, all right? We're reinforcing a certain opinion about a special topic. We're trying to persuade you about that. Now, there's a structure about that. When it comes to persuasion, we're talking maybe a history of this, history of that. Things have changed. Now we're persuading you about that topic to do this or this. We might be discussing effects of a certain problem. Persuade you about a solution to that problem, all right? This is all part of persuasion type of speech, all right? Maybe have possible solutions of that problem. Persuade you to try different things. Again, this is persuasion, right? Showing the audience how they can benefit from your solution that you never thought about before. How do we get a better this, a better that? This is all part of persuasion, all right? All part of persuasion type of speech. Another type of speech is memorized. Of course, you say to yourself, well, I can memorize this, memorize that. It might sound good. People have to have superior memory to have a perfect memory for a perfect speech. Know every single consonant they're going to use in every single word from opening your mouth to the very end. Most people can't do that because obviously there's an advantage. Think about it. You fully memorized your speech, everything's going to be perfect. However, there could be a major disadvantage. If there's a noise, any kind of distraction, all of a sudden you lose your so-called train of thought. I was going to say that, I was going to say this. I forgot my emotion, I forgot my rhythm of my memorized speech. That's the major disadvantage of a memorized speech. It sounds good, doesn't it? You memorize this, you memorize that, and something happened. It could be all kinds of different reasons, all right? You feel like you're stranded. You can't proceed till you start all over again. That's the major disadvantage of a memorized speech. Now, another type is a cause and effect. Example, you went through a red light and a traffic signal. A police officer saw this, gave you a ticket for going through red light. That's a cause and effect. If this happens, all right? Causing a problem. This caused this problem. This is the effect that took place after that problem took place. This is a cause and effect type of speech. For example, let's say your parents are talking to you about missing classes in education. You missed class of education. You didn't do well for an actual class. You weren't there to learn anything. You might have failed that test. A cause and effect type of speech, all right? Usually presents some type of problem and a solution. This is the cause, this is the effect. If you don't change your oil in a car after a long time, what happens? Part of that oil will actually evaporate, the engine will get gritty and dirty and misfire, all right? A cause and effect type of this. Very common things. Another type of speech is impromptu. That's right. You can just walk out there and do a speech. Any preparation at all. It's basically done on the spur of the moment. Go ahead and talk about this. Go ahead and talk about that. I've been asked by many management personnel where I work now as well in the past, Brian, go talk about this. Go talk about that. Not everybody can do that. It's improv, all right? You're speaking with comments about something. As you draw in all kinds of stories and information into your brain before your moment of opening your mouth. It's called an improv. At scratch, right? The disadvantage is you might not have ideas or experiences to discover yourself to talk about this or talk about that. That's a major disadvantage. There's no advanced preparation. You have to go just like that. No advanced preparation. Go talk about this. Go talk about that, all right? So sometimes you'll hear the hesitation, looking up the sun, up there, looking over there, looking for ideas, fidgeting. Your hands get sweaty. This gets sweaty. Arms get sweaty. Fidgeting. This, and this, and so on. That's the major disadvantage of impromptu type of speech. Now, you might have heard cause and effect, like I mentioned before, a solution. Now, the final kind of speech we always talk about is manuscript. Manuscript is when a person's just sitting there literally reading somebody else's speech that was written for them. This is a manuscript. Reading. But a lot of times, you did not reach that speech in your mind or in verbal. You didn't practice that speech already given to you. And last minute, here's your speech. Go talk. In other words, you might have some words, terminology, pronunciations, difficulty with the speech just given to you in a manuscript type of speech. That's a major disadvantage. How do I pronounce this? How do I pronounce that? Right? If you've never seen this manuscript, how do you know how to pronounce this? Did the author want you to put emphasis on this syllable or that word? That's the major disadvantage of a manuscript speech. It's like going to Google and typing this, typing that, and getting all kinds of answers. Here's my speech. That's the major disadvantage of a manuscript speech. So there you have it. The main types of speeches: persuasive, memorized, cause and effect, manuscript, impromptu. One last thing we didn't talk about is demonstration. How you demonstrate something in your speech. All right? Let's say, for example, you're talking about how to demonstrate putting oil in a car. You don't have a car on stage. You could draw something, use your hands to describe something. Full description in high detail will describe an object that people relate to demonstrate this. You can turn your hands, demonstrate pouring something. There's many gestures you can use to demonstrate something. Even though the article we're talking about is not on the stage in front of you, you can still demonstrate. You can use strange drawings. People don't care what kind of artist you are if you're demonstrating something using a basic chalkboard or whiteboard. You can still demonstrate something. So types of speeches you have to be very, very familiar with, because you have to decide before you open your mouth to the audience, which type of speech am I talking about? Persuasive, information, demonstrative, memorized, impromptu, cause and effect, or manuscript? Formally you think of always 3, but sometimes there's up to 5 or 6 types of speeches. The key is to understand how the audience thinks. How do they perceive you? Which type of speech are we talking about? All right? So think of the 3 main ones: persuasive, demonstrative, information. All right? Doing a speech has these 3, but primarily only one comes through to the audience perception of that speech. This is lightingesl.com, or contact me at lightingrogers.com for information. Talk to you very much and very soon. Bye-bye.